Good morning, 6:38. If that tune makes you want to throw on your Jack Sparrow hat and head on out, we got the perfect place to go to, and that's the Manitoba Museum, as they've got a brand new exhibit opening tomorrow called Real Pirates. And Drew's actually taking us on board the Witta. Good morning, Drew.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, this is the crown jewel of the exhibit here. The Witta was a slave ship that was taken over by pirates, became a pirate ship, sunk, and was just recently rediscovered. So we're about to board the Witta, but when you come to this gallery, it's such an immersive experience. So you got to go through a little bit of history before you get down here.
Okay, so kind of how do we get to the actual ship? What do we got to go through?
It's such a cool introduction because when you first walk in, you're greeted by this giant bell. It's like made out of like, I don't know, it seems like the world's heaviest metal, but it's completely enclosed in this container full of ocean water. So you get to see the Witta as the explorers would have first found it too, because they found the bell first and then they found the ship. And then from there, you're walking through this gallery, learning a little bit about the Caribbean in the 1700s. You're getting to see some of the weaponry, and then you're finally ready to board the Witta. Do you want to go aboard?
Yes, sir. Permission to come aboard, Captain.
I don't know sailing etiquette, but I'm sure this is safe. I think all the pirates are gone, although, looks like we do have one unsavory character here. Just kidding, Greg. Greg Clausen from the Manitoba Museum. Thank you so much for letting us come down here.
You're very welcome.
Now, when we first came back from commercial, we heard Pirates of the Caribbean music playing, and we have all these ideas about pirates in our heads from kids, what they did, what they didn't do, but this exhibit helps shed some light on what's true and what's myth, right?
Exactly. I mean, one of the things that's great about pirates is that we all wanted to be a pirate when we were a kid, right? So it really stimulates your imagination, this exhibit. You really imagine what it would be like. But some of the things we learned were not exactly true. For instance, nobody walks the gangplank. That never happened.
What do they do with the bad guys?
They just toss them overboard. Oh. It's pretty easy, actually, when you're at sea. And apparently there's also no such thing as a treasure map.
What?
There's never actually been a treasure map found in history.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so these are a couple things that have been sort of mythologized. However, the thing that I'm finding that's really interesting about pirates is that basically, they were like floating democratic societies.
Really?
I mean, I'm not sure they were necessarily the first, but they were one of the first. And basically, like, because this was a slave ship and turned into a pirate ship, some of the slaves stayed, right? And so you can imagine their life. One day they're in shackles, and the next day they're basically like voting, and they can they have a say over whatever goes on in the ship. And they get an equal share of the whatever they find, all the loot. So their life completely changes.
So to actually, to go from a slave to a pirate, then you would think, oh no, pirates are bad. But actually, no, they were giving a lot of opportunity that people just couldn't get in the early 1700s.
Exactly.
Hey?
And I think that this whole myth that we have that pirates were kind of really nasty and barbaric and everything, some of that is obviously true, but I think also they were actually a little more peace loving than we think. They were trying to get along with people, and they were just wanting to steal stuff and kind of move on, not necessarily kill people.
Oh, that's good.
In
so
all cases,
when they showed up, they didn't show up cannons blazing, like scabbard stabbing. They gave people the chance to be like, hand over the stuff and we'll go.
I think in many cases, yes.
Okay.
Of course, we don't know absolutely everything that happened, but the ship is a good record of what happened under the sea, right? Barry Clifford, who was here last week, found this in the 80s, and so it had been underwater for 300 years.
Wow.
And it's amazing for me to see some of these artifacts because they've been preserved so well. It's crazy, actually.
It's amazing. So rediscovered in the 80s, and then this whole process to get it all together, and now it's put together in this wonderful immersive experience that has never before been to Canada,
exactly.
Right?
First time in Canada. It's very cool. We're really, really proud to have it here. And it fits in the space, which is quite amazing. This boat is very large. We now have two boats, of course. We've got the Nonsuch and the Witta.
Oh my gosh! Well, we'll make sure that they don't have to go head to head. We don't want to see who would win here. But so let's talk a little bit more about the experience of coming down here too. The ship, obvious highlight. What are some of the other things that we get to look forward to seeing, doing, experiencing?
Well, the bell, as you indicated, is what he found, what Barry Clifford found, and went, okay, this has to be the Witta because the Witta is actually right on the bell.
Yeah.
So he knew for sure that he was in the right place. There's tons of artifacts. There's about 200 artifacts from under the sea that have been painstakingly excavated and cleaned, obviously, which I'm not going to talk about because your next guest can highlight a few of them.
Okay.
But I think the most important thing is just that kids will get to touch coins and make knots and kind of really get an immersive, like you said, sense of what it's like to be a pirate, and hopefully, imagine that in their life and maybe go off and find pirate treasure of their own.
What a cool opportunity. And Greg, when do we finally get to, I don't know, open the doors, put the sails up, get the wind, and let the public in here?
Tomorrow.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is really, really exciting. Today is your sneak peek. Tomorrow is when you're going to want to come down here with your family. Greg, thanks so much.
No problem.
Hey, get the details about the Manitoba Museum, this exhibit, the hours, and all that information on the BT website at breakfasttelevision.ca. We're going to take a little break, but we have plenty more to show you this morning coming up on BT.